Welcome back to Journey Through the Awesome. As a kid, Diane Hoskins always loved building Legos. Barbie's dream houses, race car sets. She said that she loved putting things together and building things using her imagination. Much like how I spend hours building incredible buildings from blocks in Minecraft. This right here, this is the greatest game of all time. Hoskins spent hours developing huge architectural masterpieces from Lego bricks. Her childhood passion of building Lego structures led Hoskins to a life of pursuing architecture. When she graduated from MIT, she found her dream job under a manager who was a bit self-centered. There's not a lot of information about how bad the boss actually was, but it was somebody who was deemed a genius in the field of architecture. Hoskins clearly realized that this was an overrated reputation for this manager. So she left the job and moved back with her family in Chicago to work at a perfume counter. Now, some may see this as a significant downturn from a career possibility that could be opened by a college degree from a school as prestigious as MIT. But Hoskins actually described in an interview that this choice made her feel extremely independent. But where did her story go from here? Well, eventually, Hoskins met a former classmate from her school who came into the perfume store. And they said that there was this huge firm with these team-based projects that was a huge step up from the firm she had just walked away from. She joined the firm, worked her way up to the top, and is now a co-CEO and co-global chair of Gensler, a major architectural design firm that had co-chairs for every leadership position. A huge upgrade to the firm she had walked away from. Hoskins applied for a position at Gensler and worked her way up to become the co-chair of the company. After starting her successful career as CEO of Gensler today, Hoskins says that the business model should be about innovating from the core, building from the ground up through multiple sets of ideas instead of one, and that the future for architectural progress will come from innovation and the creation of unique ideas. Thank you for listening to this success story. Now, what will guide your path to success? Imagine if your own mother goes missing, and then after 60 years, you still hear no word from her until finally the police tell you that she has been living her life just chilling in another state, in another region, all by herself. In Reedsburg, Wisconsin, United States, Audrey Blackberg left her home to pick up a paycheck from the Woolen Mill, which was this business that she worked at. After she picked up her paycheck, she left the building, and her co-workers saw her walk into the distance, never to be seen by them again. After that day, Audrey left the town and went missing. Her husband, Ronald, reached out to her relatives to ask where she was. They said that they had no idea, and a missing persons report was filed. Shortly afterward, a babysitter who was watching after Audrey and Ronald's kids came forward and said that she and Audrey had actually left the home together to Madison, the capital of Wisconsin. They then took a Greyhound bus to Indianapolis, Indiana. And this is where the babysitter said she had last seen Audrey. She said that when they got off the bus, Audrey was on her way to the end of the bus stop. So they got off the bus and they're getting off together. Audrey takes a turn, goes all the way down to the end of the bus stop. That's when the babysitter last sees her. She loses sight of her, and then that's it. She takes the bus back all the way to Wisconsin, and that was the last time she had seen Audrey alive. There was no sight of Audrey for 60 years. 6 decades go by and no word from her. No evidence, no updates, no sightings of her in any states, any other cities, any areas, nothing. And then 60 years after she had disappeared, the police department in the town where Audrey had worked, in Reedsburg, Wisconsin, they decided to reopen several cold case files. They reopened the Audrey Blackberg case and discovered that her sister actually had an Ancestry.com account. The detective who was looking at the case saw Audrey Blackberg, new address, and it had the address listed on the website. So he contacted the police department at the area where that address was, and he says, "Can you guys just send somebody to this address to check in with this woman who disappeared for 60 years? Not a big deal, just go ahead and check. Yeah, she's been gone for 60 years. It's not a huge deal. Send somebody to drop in, see how she's doing, see what's good, see if she needs any groceries from the local store. Yeah, that kind of stuff. All right, I'll leave you to it. Just no big worry that this woman has been missing for 6 decades, and we need somebody to check in. It may happen to be the same woman living at this random address in this entirely new area from where she had left." So the police department in that area went searching, and who would have thunk it? Audrey Blackburn was now found 60 years older from the last time that she had been last seen alive, and the police discovered that she was living in a new home, living an entirely new life, away from her children, away from her husband, away from her family and her loved ones. Nobody knew that she was living here. What's probably the most surprising fact about this case is that she wasn't kidnapped. There was no evidence of a crime being committed. There was no evidence that she was taken against her will at some point while she was in Indianapolis. No, she left completely on her own and by her own volition. She told police that she just decided, I don't want to live this life anymore. I don't want to live this life with these 2 kids that I have in Wisconsin and this husband that I have and all these family members knowing where I'm at. I'm tired of this life. And so I want to live an entirely new life, one where I can take control and independence and be just this new person that has total control over my own life and my own choices. So she left her husband, she left her 2 kids, she left her family behind, she left that old town, moved to an entirely different state, and for some reason didn't bother to change her name. I don't know how much it cost to change a name at the time that she disappeared, but she didn't change her name, she just changed addresses. So that's how they found her. That's how the police found her. The police found her because her name was listed along with the new address. After interviewing her, the police confirmed that she did seem content with the choices that she had made. But this is something that I look at and I'm like, I honestly support this type of decision. A lot of times when I hear stories about people who become reclusive or they want to live lives where they have total control and independence, usually I'm like, yeah, go for that life, go for that independence, take control of your life. You know how motivational speakers, they'll always go up on stage and they'll be like, you gotta take control. You gotta take control. And we're always like, yeah. But in this case, do we say that when it's about a person who's leaving behind their kids though? I mean, she did have 2 kids. What, did the babysitter just look after the kids all those years? She came back to the house and she was like, well, kids, your mom, she got captured. Big hawk came down from the sky and picked her up and took her off to its nest. So she's dead now. And so I'm gonna be your new foster mom, your unofficial foster mom for these next 6 decades. What's that? You want a new toy for Christmas? All right, go out into the shed. There's plenty of stuff out there to craft your own personal fun. You want a doll, little Susan? All right, I'm gonna take this piece of wood from the tree that fell down in our backyard. I'm gonna chop it up. I'm gonna give you this log. Now take this knife and carve yourself a homemade amazing doll. It'll be 10 times more fun than the cheap knockoff dolls you can get at the local Toys R Us, which was probably open at the time of this story, and the other stores that are nearby. It's more official, it's more pure, more magical. Just don't cut yourself. What I'm wondering about is, what do the kids think after hearing that their mom has been alive this whole time? How do you respond when you receive that phone call that's like, yeah, we just found out that your mom who disappeared 60 years ago, she's actually alive. She was just chilling in another state the whole time. She was having a great time too. Seemed very happy with all of her choices. What do you do in that situation? My mom's alive? Well, I'm an adult now. I have kids. I have my own full-time job. I'm stressed out too from life, but I mean, damn, Mom. Now, something to note is that police did say in the days before she vanished that Audrey was having an abusive relationship with her husband, according to allegations that she had filed several days before she disappeared. If that's true, if those allegations were true, I could side with that reasoning. But then again, why would you leave the 2 kids with him? There was no information about how the kids felt, what the situation with the kids were in regards to their relationship with the father. It's just crazy that the people who are determined to live their own life of independence, they will find a way. They will find a way. And sometimes maybe the way they find isn't always compatible with, what we all think is the appropriate form of action to take when you're in an abusive relationship or you're just living a life that's really stressful and really troubling. I'm not saying that you should side with her. I'm not saying that the choices made by the woman in this story were justified. All I'm saying is that it's pretty interesting to hear about the lengths that people are willing to go to really escape a life that they said, you know what? This life just isn't for me. I don't want to live this life anymore. I want to live a new life where I'm independent and I can take control and I can finally live the story-driven life that I've always wanted to live. It sounds exciting to me on paper, but when I think about it, what are all the facets that go into it? What are all the different controls and different scenes that you have to consider, the actions that you have to take? How are you going to get a new job? Where are you going to get money? Where are you going to live? How are you going to live? These are things that I think is really interesting when I come across stories like this. The story makes me think of all the cool things that would happen if you stage a disappearance, go off to live a new life, a life of adventure, going to new places, seeing new things, going on multiple adventures that will define your life until the day you die. Until you realize that you have no money, so you have to get a new job. But you can't find a job, so you have to live on the street, in a box, begging for money. And then maybe rob a Best Buy and get some camera equipment and some gaming equipment so you can start your Twitch career. And then become a millionaire. What do you all think of this? How motivated were you by the first story of the woman who worked at the perfume counter and then worked her way up to be a millionaire? And then how do you feel about this story of the woman who disappeared and wanted to start a new life? Are you motivated to start your own life? Run away from home. Do what Kwame says and run away from home. Start your new life. Go begin a life as a pirate or a superhero or somebody else who is awesome and completely unique from everybody else in our world. Do something that defines your life until the day you die, even if it means living in a box and starting a Twitch gaming career. To support the channel, you can follow my Patreon below and also my Twitch, and of course, subscribe to my YouTube. Leave a comment down below on what you think of this, and of course, as always, like the video. And I will see you all in the next one. Stay awesome!